Hey everybody, we are back with part 2 of the Planted Seat Technologies Corbeau Race Seat in the Spark EV. I had to modify a Chevy Sonic seat bracket from Planted to fit the Chevy Spark. The plan was to be able to swap the race seat and the stock seat back within a few minutes with 2 bolts and a couple connections under the seat. The problem with installing race seats in modern day cars with SRS airbags in them is that the resistor needs to be made in order to fool the system into thinking that everything's okay and all the airbags are present. This way, if you do get into a crash, God forbid, these airbags will work. Every other airbag in the system will work as long as that's being fooled. Now, if you're just going to leave it unplugged, it's a guessing game as to into which airbags are going to work in the situation. So the 3 connections under the Spark are your SRS airbag, supplemental restraint system, secondary to the seat belts. This is your seat heater, and this is the belt minder, which attaches to your seat belt. So what we're actually trying to do here is the emulation of the resistance when this is actually plugged in. So of course we won't have a seat airbag anymore, but you've got 10 airbags in this car. So not having a seat airbag, really not going to be the most dangerous thing. You still have your SRS airbag for your steering wheel. You've got column airbags. You've got airbags up here. I mean, really though, this thing will puff up like a balloon. It'll puff up like a rover on Mars when it's landing. Right now I'm waiting for my SRS resistance emulator. Now the whole reason I wanted a resistance emulator is to be safe. Safety is a main thing when you're trying to emulate resistance. If you give it too much resistance, you could blow something out. Too little resistance, it might read an error code and you might have to go get it flashed from the dealer, whatnot. And guys, what in the world, guys and girls? So we've got here battery 15.5 volt lithium manganese dioxide. All right, 15.5 volts. Do not charge, short circuit, incinerate, or mutilate this battery. The battery must dispose of as a hazardous material if it has not been completely discharged. I have so many questions about this. I really have no clue what this battery is for. It is under the driver's seat. If it can't be charged, what is the lifespan of this battery? Is this battery supposed to last the whole entire life of the car? And what is that supposed to be? Interesting stuff. I'm going to do a little more research on this thing and I'll get back to everyone when I figure out what this is. So back to the SRS airbag. You're probably saying to yourself, well, why don't you just read the resistance with a meter? And that's because it doesn't have a fuse in line that will blow. If something does, you can blow that main fuse, or even worse, fry the ECU for some reason. So here it is. Straight from the UK, we've got our SRS Assist 2 amp fuse. Now this is very important. This will blow the fuse and you can refuse it if it does. And the kit comes with all the resistors you need. With the car in the off position, you want to insert each probe into each end of the electrical SRS connector. With the car still off, set the dial to 12 o'clock, which is 0 ohms. To test the unit, we'll see that the airbag light still comes on at 0 ohms. Remember to turn the car off each time you turn the resistance up. I increased to 1 ohm and still had the same light come back on. I increased to 1.5 ohms. Turned the car on, and the light was off. From your bag of tricks, choose a 1.5 ohm resistor, and insert it just like we did the test probes into the airbag connection. Remember, if you're making a hardcore race car, you can devise some type of clip and or soldering to make this a 100% modification that will not be undone. But because we want to swap this seat back to stock, we're going to put some tape around it and just cover it with an actual finger from a rubber glove. But first we're going to take some just general electric tape and we're going to make sure that these don't connect to themselves. You don't want these shorting out against themselves. They've been installing race seats with resistors like this in the SRS airbag connections for the seat for quite some time now, with no ill effects if it's done right. That's why I wanted to get the SRS airbag resistance emulator from the UK. Big shout out to those guys. Amazing tool. Did what it was supposed to do. Right on the spot, 1.5 is the Chevy Spark EV's resistance for the race seat. Thanks everyone. Thanks for watching. Comment, subscribe, like, do the whole entire thing. Hit the thumbs up button. That helps me out a lot, guys. Thanks for supporting the channel. Support the troops, and see you later.